Yeah, hello, it's me again. Thank you, Professor Anton, for your answer. I actually really didn't expect it. So, yeah, thank you very much. Um, I wanted, I just watched your video and I just wanted to respond it very quick. Um, I think in general, um, I don't have that much to say. I agree with a lot of the stuff in your video. Um, at first, I wanted to point out that what I tried to do in the qualia video was basically to somewhat show that qualia are relational properties and not intrinsic properties. Mm, yeah, that's that's one thing I want to say here. And then I also wanted to agree with you on, in a certain sense at least. Afterwards, I want to critique it a bit. Um, that relations are, I'm not gonna say real, because that's what I wanted to critique, but that I see that there are relations, and in a certain sense they can't be, simply analyzed down or completely eliminated. I would say that they can't be eliminated, but I can say they can be reduced. Um, Basically that's I guess the word eliminated. And I also agree with you that that which emerges can be very different. That it doesn't need to have anything in common. Like you pointed out with seeing and hearing, and I very much agree with you on that. But on the other hand, I also wanted to I have problems with with with, with the that you say that relations are as real as the things. To me, that is some kind of stretching of the word real, because I if we apply it to all, if we say, well, the things are real and the relations are real, we say that the word that real is both, and real is, to me it becomes some kind of meaningless. I don't know what real means then anymore. If we say, well, that is real and that is real and that is real, I have problems. I think that it becomes so loose, the usage of that and I can't really say anything more about this, because that seems like a linguistic confusion in a bit, and I don't know. You know, I don't think that it's it's like, if we say, well, the mental is real and the physical is real, you know well, how do I only know the mental. I've only seen the mental. I've never seen the physical, if you know what I mean by that. And how do I why do I say, well, this is real and this is real? Why? Yes, it's also like the word being. At that moment, it becomes very difficult to say anything about us anymore. In a certain sense, it is real, but it is real in another sense. Then the relations are in another sense real than the the physical is real, or the material is real, or things are real, or however you want to call this. Um, the realness, or how you want to say that, it, you know is different from the realness of the things, you know and then we might ask ourselves, or we may be very critical, what real then even, what's the meaning of the word real then anymore? I somewhat know what it is, but what does it mean in a strong ontological sense? I would say that. Well, that's what I want to say about that. And but nevertheless, I very much agree that relation is something, I don't want to say real anymore. That relation is very important. Maybe you get what I wanted to say when I'm finished. That if you take the word tree, it doesn't have a meaning. It's just isolated from everything. So tree only has a meaning by relating it to another word or other words, like the tree is in front of you. Tree only gains its meaning by being in front of you. Tree itself doesn't have a meaning if it doesn't relate to anything else. So you can't take it just out of context and expect it to mean something. And of course that isn't the full meaning. No one, I guess, would be that naive to think the tree is in front of you that has a universal meaning. It still has to be contextualized, and that's also where where the relation occur, or where the relation happens. Or I don't know how to put it, but basically the tree is in front of you doesn't really have a meaning without basically maybe me driving a bicycle and you shouting the tree is in front of you, and that means, well, I should drive to the left in order not to crash into the tree. So basically the tree relates to other words, and also to me being in the situation driving the bicycle and you standing behind me, but also it ultimately relates to my full understanding of this culture. And that's, in a loose sense, I guess I would say that meaning is relation, or at least that meaning only becomes possible by relation. So, well, I see the importance of relation here. And then that's also one thing I wanted to say. And then one last thing I wanted to say is, I'm sure you didn't mean it like at least I first understood it, but you were talking about the word three. At first it sounded to me like some kind of Platonism, although I know you don't mean that. But it sounded like, there would be this abstract object, and that is three, independent of three things. And I also don't. It also becomes very difficult if we talk about that, because even if we talk about certain layers, or levels, you said levels. Because levels somewhat implies that we can identify this layer, this level, and then there's this higher level, and then there's this level above that, and that we can strictly differentiate between these levels. And I wouldn't say it's that easy. And it basically is also, well, I mean, we use the word three in so many different ways, and but never, it's like never we point to this abstract object. It always is, contextualized. I can't picture the three, without the things, how should this look like? How should this abstract object look like? It's not like we can point to this abstract object. I mean, it's always that we see the three apples, or it's always that that we see the three computers, and so on. So well, that's one usage, but it's not that, with 421 or something, you can't do it like that. That's something different, and that is something that we, that is more, there the number is not like, it's more like, maybe in a calculation process, or if you're using money and you're paying something, and then you're working, then you're using the numbers in that sense. But in another place, you're using it like the three apples, um, you're talking about, and you're actually seeing there. So it's well, I guess in some sense that also underlies that which you said, that which emerges can be very different, and that it doesn't necessarily have to be anything, it has to have anything in common. But in another sense, it also means to me that it's not that easy to differentiate the certain layers, that this abstraction is certainly higher than this thought or something, that 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 it can't be that easily distinguished. And it, yes, basically that, I guess that's what I wanted to say. I guess I don't have a general message in this video. I just wanted to say something. I don't know, maybe you find it interesting. Goodbye.